How did I get brighter? Do you ever just see your
Sun?
face and go, ah?
Who are you? Who are
Well,
you?
I fixed it. I fixed the lighting.
Who
Anyway,
are you?
hello.
Hola.
Hello.
How is everyone on this lovely Sunday?
Yes, it's a wonderful Sunday for us. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, it's hopefully a wonderful Monday for you.
Yes, yes. Happy Monday in advance. Happy Monday in
I hope it's a
advance.
happy on Monday. I
Me
hope it's
too.
a happy.
Me too. I really,
Well,
really do.
I have a couple more days off, and honestly, I can't complain about work this week because I didn't really work this week.
Yeah, you got lucky. You got like flexed off and stuff, and
I got flexed twice, went in once, threw out my back doing compressions, and yeah,
there
now
you
I'm
have it.
recovering. So we're
There you
good.
have it. It's not a good day unless you throw out your back at work.
You
You were
know,
really doing. Look, you are doing some nursing.
I really did my job. I will say that, I am fundamentally a lazy human being, but when push
Mm-hmm.
comes to shove, I will do my job.
Exactly. Okay.
Uh,
Just
I
gonna
will
reposition
not die
myself
on
here.
my watch.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Positioning.
Anywho. So, what have you been reading? Because if we had actually filmed this about a week ago, or recorded this about a week ago, I would have had a really
Yeah.
hard time having to talk to you guys about books. So, what have you been reading that you've been enjoying?
Yeah. So, okay. So, I got this book in from Catapult. It's called Things We Found When the Water Went Down by Tegan Nia Swanson. It comes out on December 6th. This is my sticky so I don't forget.
You're so
And
good.
I, it is, I don't know what's happening. It's weird and strange and wonderful. And I don't really know what to say about it. I'm just very much into it. So on the back it says, when brutish miner Hugo Mitchum is found murdered on the frozen shore of a North Country lake, the local officials and town gossips of Bow Callis are quick to blame Marietta Abernathy, outspoken environmental activist and angry witchy recluse. But Marietta herself has disappeared under mysterious circumstances. So there's all this stuff about Marietta in particular and like her love for the water and how she can't like stay out of the water. She's always diving and finding these weird and wonderful things like in the ocean and putting them in jars and collecting them. And it's like she lives to be in the water. And there's like a couple of passages in the beginning where it talks about when she was like 3 years old and like she would dream about water and the house would flood. It is very odd, but I am so into it. But I don't really know what's happening right now. Things have not clicked yet. And she has a daughter, she has a husband. The daughter is sort of like her, but I don't think her lungs can like handle being in the water that long. So she doesn't like go in with her mother often. Like her mother just stays in there like for hours upon hours. So it's a lot of talk about water, and it's really odd, but also really beautiful. And I kind of can't stop reading it. And I'm having just a very odd experience.
Well, I just know I now have a goal for life, and that is to one day be described as an angry, witchy recluse. And if that could be, if I
You
could
know?
fulfill that goal, I think um, I need a fellow, like white chick with a nose ring to make me more witchy, is what I need in
Right.
life.
Exactly.
But it sounds
Exactly.
really interesting.
It does. And also the way it's structured, it's also very odd.
Hmm.
It's yeah, and there's like photos in here and articles.
What's it called again?
It's called Things We Found When the Water Went Down. So I'll give you an
Hmm.
example of like this particular passage where it just kind of like, I don't know, it feels very dreamy to me. And this is just kind of how the writing is. And it says, on the mainland in Biocalis, they called her the Loon Woman, the town hydrotic, meaning water crazy, the one who could not contain her tides, or rather, the one whose hair was perpetually tangled and speckled with ash, the one whose eyes changed color with the seasons, the land clumsy, the one who drowned, the one who stank of algae. She was the one who slept and slept under the ice, the one whose wild and quiet followed the water, the one who lost control of her throat and howled, in public no less. And how dare she? Like, it's just so delicious and so weird and so wonderful.
It sounds really wonderful. I just Googled it. A Nordic eco-noir shot through with magical realism.
That term, eco-noir, when, they Catapult sends you their catalog for you to choose books. I saw eco-noir and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I want to read that.
That would make me click on it. That would make me be like, yes to that book. Just that phrase alone.
So just so you know, as I'm reading this the whole time, I'm like, Alyssa would like this. Alyssa would like this. You would like this. I just feel like
100% sounds like an Alyssa book.
Yeah.
When does it come out?
So this comes out week? Tuesday, December 6th, Tuesday. So thank you, Catapult, for this wonderful book that just has me just having the most beautiful yet odd experience. Thank you so much. Things We Found When the Water Went Down by Tegan Nia Swanson.
I love that. That looks okay.
You have to get it, and I think we should chat about it.
Okay.
Because it's weird.
I'll try. Yeah. I'll find it. I like weird. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm glad that we're doing this now and not like a week or two ago during Nano and my couple weeks of just hating absolutely every book I read. Because now I'm liking things again. I think my camera did something funky for a second, but we're okay. So I told you last night we were talking about this. So Claire Keegan, Small Things Like These. I finished it. Was it yesterday I finished it or 2 days ago? I finished it recently. And I'm doing that reading the Booker long list with Dee Reads. And so this and Treacle Walker are the December books. And we're not talking about Treacle Walker because I don't even know what to tell you about Treacle Walker.
That seems to be the consensus about that book. Every time someone talks about it, they say something along those lines.
I think I think a lot of British people really like it because there's a lot of references to things that are like more entrenched in the culture. And I think that author also is like a children's author or something like that. So it's like kind of like a I don't know. I think there's like a different reaction to it culturally.
Right,
in
possibly.
the UK. But anyway, so this was the other one that I read and I absolutely loved this. So you were curious to see what I was going to think about this.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, so I don't remember much of it. I read it either earlier this year or last year, but it was very forgettable for me. I don't know why. I really don't remember much about it. You're like, what are you talking about?
It's so not forgettable. So it is such a wonderful discussion of like how the Catholic Church operated like under the noses, overtly and covertly of everybody, and did atrocious things to young women and their children.
I don't remember it.
And took advantage of them, and how complicit in many ways, whether like intentionally or unintentionally, people were. And this is just like one man quietly going through his life in this town in the 80s, which I found that the most interesting part because I was often thinking that it was set further back into history, not like contemporary to me, but I kept having to remember that, no, this is contemporary to me. Like these things were going on like for a very long time. And he just happens to stumble upon in the nunnery these young girls being mistreated by the Catholic Church. And you just watch him sort of be unable to unsee it. And you see him interact with like his wife, who's like, just stop, because if you do anything, this is your biggest employer is the church. He sells coal and and timber, and if they don't buy your coal and timber, we'll have no money. And you see how like poor everybody else is in this town and how many people are struggling, and this guy's
Yeah.
supporting all these people. And like he could so very easily be one of those people, but also like his daughters could so very easily be one of those women that he stumbled
Right.
upon in this church. And you watch him kind of reflect on his life as a fatherless child. And I just thought it was brilliant. There's like an economy of language. Naomi,
So hear me out
how
on
did you
this.
not like this book?
I feel like I never read that book. And here's why. And this is something that I started to notice last year. We have very different brains.
Hmm.
I started realizing last year that audiobooks are not working for me like they work for a lot of other people.
Hmm.
So I don't have that book physically. I listen to it
Hmm.
on audio. My brain misses a lot of stuff. And this is why I've stopped listening to so many audiobooks unless I actually have the physical book that my eyeballs can lay eyes on text, because my brain misses so much. Like
Yeah.
you can listen to an audiobook without the physical book and you can grasp things, you can retain things. For me, I lose focus. I lose a lot of focus. I don't hear things. I don't pick up on
Hmm.
things. It's almost like it becomes like background noise. I need to have the
Yeah.
book. Now, like let's say when I'm in going to McKay for a shopping spree or whatever, I will listen to an audiobook, but it has to be something like something very commercial that I don't really need to pay attention to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But like if there's anything that I really care about that I want to read, I have to have the book, because if it's audio only, mama's missed it. I've missed it. So
You
that's why
need
I've
to
been
reread the
reading.
book.
I need to have the physical book because I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything.
I don't know how you wouldn't like this. So you have to reread it
Yeah.
because it is so it's about the Magdalene laundries. If for some
Mhm.
reason you didn't pick up on that, the people listening. Um and I thought I didn't know a lot about the book, and I when we were in the book discussion for Glory last week, I think it was last week. Um
Mhm.
we were talking about the upcoming picks, and I said, "Oh well, I said something. We talked about a lot about Treacle Walker because obviously everyone's
Yeah.
like, I don't freaking know what to do with this book." And we
Right.
talked a lot about this one, and I was like, "Well, I didn't realize it was like." I just thought this was like a fluffy read, and they were
Oh
like,
no.
"Oh no, no, no! This is about the Magdalene laundries." And I went like everything, like all the bells were going off in my head, like, "Oh, I'm
Mhm.
gonna love this book," like because I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot that has gone really wrong. And I like books that highlight that, especially
Yeah.
coming from being in America where you have this whole like evangelical Christian right, like
Mhm.
action that's
Mhm.
really got their little spindly fingers and everything. There's a lot to learn from history. There's a lot of bad
Yeah.
things that come out of being fundamental like that or having that much power. Power, absolute power corrupts absolutely, or whatever that phrase is. And like little
Mhm.
stories like this are really good ways of reminding people that, you
Yeah.
gotta check those people that are in power. And sometimes you have to
Exactly.
put at risk your own livelihood to do that. I think there was some criticism. I've seen some people say that they don't like that there was a man that kind of was like a savior. And I didn't really read it that way. I just read it as like one
Mhm.
person. He could have been anybody. He could have
Anyone.
been a man or a woman, but he
Exactly.
happened to be a man. And I think that like male savior thing would have been hit me over the head a little bit more if he had had like maybe a bigger impact. Like he did one small act as like a person with very few abilities to actually make any change, but he
But
did
that's the
something
message,
because
right? If we all did
yeah, because
one
he
small
couldn't do
act,
any
things would improve, right?
yeah,
That's kind of the
because he can't
message.
do nothing.
Right.
He couldn't stand by and do nothing like so many other people had, but he
Mhm.
also understood that he couldn't take down the juggernaut of like the Catholic Church.
Right.
So so he did what he could. And so I think that would if it had been something else, like suddenly this man was like, I don't know, petitioning whatever the equivalent of Congress is in Ireland and like
Right.
doing all these things, maybe
Exactly.
I would have felt that criticism better. But No, I
Yeah,
really loved
yeah.
it. I actually have
I'm
a whole review
glad.
going for the channel,
I'm
so I
glad. Are you gonna read her other books? I know there's one called
yes, I
Foster
would
that
love to read
people
her other
really,
books.
really like. Oh, so just so you know, I think I'm gonna make another like my last 2022 McKay run today
Oh, good, because I put some new
because
stuff in the,
okay, good. Because
thing.
there are a few things that I'm looking for, and before I order them online, I just want to make sure they're not sitting at McKay. So I'm
Mhm.
going to do my last 2022 McKay haul today, and then I probably won't go to McKay again until you come up here in the spring.
Yeah, I don't really want to buy anything today after the hour I lost
I know.
in
If
this
one thing
morning
my
for
financial institution should know is, you know what? They probably wouldn't know because I never have to really spend money in there because I'm always using store credit.
yeah,
It's very rare if I actually have to swipe my card in McKay. So
yeah,
that's what's happening today.
yeah. Well, 'tis the season for your card to get flagged for
That's
fraudulent
right.
charges that are
That's
actually just
right.
you buying
Well,
Christmas presents.
but also the scammers are busy. The scammers
I
are
mean, on
busy.
the one hand, I'm very grateful that they flag things and that they
Yeah.
call things to your attention. So, they're protecting me. However, it was also incredibly annoying and I lost an hour of my life. So, the flip side of that
Yeah.
is
I
it
mean,
was
yeah.
really an annoying process. It could have been,
Yes.
there has to be a way to streamline it so it doesn't take an hour of my life to fix it. So,
I don't know. Algorithms, man. Algorithms,
I don't know. She's like, "What were you buying?"
I
A
don't either.
Christmas tree. I was buying a
Right.
Christmas tree. Can I
Right.
have my Christmas tree?
Can I please? Can I please? All
Anywho, what are
right.
we here to talk about?
I'm excited today because we're going to be talking about how to find your book community, which I think is a hot topic. And I think people are,
Yeah.
well, readers are always on the hunt for a community that best suits the type of reader that they are. And that's how
Mhm.
we meet other readers and how we find great books. And you and I have been on these individual journeys and experiments on testing out various avenues of book communities. And I thought we should probably chat about it. And maybe it'll give some folks out there some ideas on how they can kind of dip their toe in the water and find that a place where they can land to be amongst other readers. Because it's no fun when you don't have people to chat books about, right? With, it's no fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all want to chat books
So
with someone.
I thought this was really interesting because I got a message in my like message requests. You know that dump folder on Instagram where the random things go and you forget they're there and then you check them and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, what is this? Somebody wrote, and this is what it says. It says, "Hi, stupid question, but any recommendations on where, how to find a book club to be a part of? I was part of one in person, but then moved across the country and just don't have the same community to turn to for that anymore." And I just thought
Mm.
that was like such a such a good timing for this
Mm-hmm.
discussion to get that. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we've talked about like how did we come to like Bookstagram before. Um, but to like quickly summarize at least my experience, like I read a book, really wanted to talk to people about it, and I was like, I have this brilliant idea, and I'm gonna be the first person to ever have this idea, and I'm gonna make an account just for books, and we're gonna talk about books. And so then I like went on the Instagram and my realized that my brilliant idea was actually had by like thousands of other people and I found a community of people that I could talk to about books and then that led me to you and all of that. So I mean
Right.
I can't remember what your exact
It was
story
nothing like
into
that. I already
Bookstagram
had
was.
Instagram. It was just a
Mhm.
regular Instagram. It had no particular anything to it. I was out house hunting. I was waiting for the realtor to show up, and I had um, Evelyn Hugo in the car, and I just decided to post about my experience. Reading fiction for the first time in like over a decade.
Mhm.
And then, like, slowly but surely, I started realizing, like, oh, wait, people care about what you read on here. And I just kind of like dove deeper and deeper. And then
Mhm.
I found like Bookstagram like a week or so later. Like, it still
Yeah.
wasn't clicking with me that that's an actual community until like later. And it was Peter Mon, this guy I follow on YouTube. He had said this word Bookstagram a
Yeah.
lot. And I never
I'm not
picked
a
up on it
fan for Pete.
until that
Mhm.
post. And I was like, wait a minute, is this what that guy's talking about? So yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it
So
happened.
I think that's like a good first kind of like tip or point is that if there is somewhere on social media, like if you're not looking for something in person, I know that this person was specifically asking about finding um
I have some
book
ideas on
club,
that though.
but also like I'm not sure if they want like a community online or something in person too. But if you're first and foremost trying to just find a general community online, I would say if you're in some social media format that you already use and you're there all the time, I would look around for their book people. You've been going through Facebook, there's communities there, Instagram, obviously, that's where we met. TikTok, we all know about the juggernaut of book
Mhm.
talk, though I don't know how much people like talk to each other on book talk, but I also don't
Right.
do a lot of book talk. But
Exactly.
and then even on booktube, like it's taken me a long time to get like sort of booktubey friends,
Mhm.
but like there is the ability to create communities on all of
Yeah.
these social media platforms where you can find friends essentially that read like you or that don't read like you but you just enjoy
Right.
them, like whatever it is. But you kind of got to weave through the wall of like, I mean, I think if you read a lot of the more popular fiction for the bookish social
Mhm.
medias, like it's super easy because that's everywhere. But if you read a little bit more obscurely, and I mean like just in the slightest way, more obscurely, you may have to dig a little deeper. So don't get discouraged.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about all of that. So, if you're looking for in-person book clubs, and quite a few people are often looking for in-person book clubs,
Mm-hmm.
I would say check with your library. Most libraries have book clubs for
100%.
various genres.
Mm-hmm.
Also, check and see if you have any local bookstores. A lot of local bookstores have book clubs, more than one.
Awesome.
So check those two places because you may really luck up. I've got a lot of local bookstores around here in Northern Virginia, and quite a few of them have various book clubs within the store. So those are good places to check out if you're looking for something in person. Also, check meetup.com.
That's what I was going to
Go to
say.
meetup.com, just put in book club, put in your area. I'm sure there's someone who is running some sort of a book club in your area. So those are
And
like
don't
kind of three places off the top of my head.
And don't think that like just because you have a Barnes and Noble or a big chain bookstore that that's the only place that you don't have an indie or something like that that you won't be able to find anything through the stores, because I know a few of
Mhm.
the Barnes and Nobles that I can find around here, they do have a book club association. Some of them do. So it's not, and they do have meetings. They might not be like for
Yes.
things that are your taste, but I think sometimes there's like a YA book club. There might be an adult thing, but I think a lot of it is YA. But there are options, so
Mhm.
explore them all. They do exist.
Yeah,
So
that's so
I
true.
think that I mean, my library has. I was shocked at the number of book clubs my library runs.
Mhm.
I was
Mine
like,
too.
how many discussions? What? So
Yes.
I
It's
the
insane.
yeah, and if I didn't have severe crippling social anxiety, I would totally go to them. But um, but I think that finding if you're like me, finding an online community that you really enjoy is huge. And can be really helpful. One of the things that has helped for me is finding creators that I really enjoy and then joining their discords. Sometimes you have to be a Patreon member or something for
Mhm.
that to for you to get access to a discord, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes
Yeah.
people just have a Discord. And like I think of Jess Owens and her nonfiction Discord. It's a fantastic Discord that gets a lot of traction. That they every other month they read a nonfiction book, and you can hop in and out and read a book with people, and they have discussions, and it makes you feel
Yeah.
it's really nice. It's a good time. I've joined a Discord for Katie Books, which is like joining his Ko-fi or Patreon, same difference, and it's just funny because it's like a lot of literary fiction. It's a group of people that are sort of like nerdy and snarky and a little bit. weird like me. And so it's
Yeah.
like a really nice place. There's a lot of other discussions that go on, not just about books. Obviously, there's a lot of discussions about books, but we like
Mm-hmm.
there's entire threads just for talking about your pets. Like like
Right.
and you know, and it's been really lovely. I mean, and I know that you've talked about this book, but then seeing somebody else talk about this book and someone
Mm-hmm.
setting up an actual buddy read for kin was like, well, now I have to read it because I keep seeing it
Exactly.
in different places, right? So it's just kind of been nice finding a little group of people who help you out. And I think I've seen it
Yep.
the most in writing. So in writing sprints and all of that, there's a lot of these really great supportive communities out there. And there's one for reading too. There's tons of people who do reading sprints. I think if that's what you're into, I know neither of us are really into reading sprints, like you can make some really good friends just through interacting in the chats and doing reading sprints with people online.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And I'm in a lot of discords. I there what is that site you go, there's a site you can go to search for discords.
Oh, I don't
And
know. I'm not very good at the
I'll put
Discord.
it, I'll
Put it in the
yeah,
show
I'll
notes
put it
for
in the show
people who are
notes.
also
I'll put
bad
it,
at
everything that
Discord.
we talk about will be in the show notes. Yeah, everything will be in the show notes. But there's a site you can go to and you can just search for whatever topic to see if there are any discords for that topic. And I did that for books. And this is probably like, I don't know, last year or 2 years ago or something or whatever. And I found a lot of discords for book lovers. So I'm in quite a few, but Discord is a great place. I never used Discord for books. I always was in like various discords for like web development and coding and stuff like that. So this is like, the first time that I've sought out book lovers, on Discords. And there's a lot of groups and they are active. Like there are
Mhm.
conversations happening and it's wonderful. There's not
Yeah.
a moment in time where you can't get in there and like get in on some kind of discussion about whatever. And they do, have all these various threads on all kinds of topics, and some are more organized than others, some are more robust than others, and so
Mhm.
there's a lot to really choose from on Discord. And Discord is great because you can use it on your phone or you can
Mhm.
use it on your computer. So there's a lot of flexibility there. And once you get in there and start dabbling and, getting used to the lay of the land, it's really not that difficult to use and it can be quite fun.
If
So
I can figure it out, at
yeah.
least how to use it, anybody can
Mhm.
figure out how to use it.
Yeah. Now
There's a lot you can do in it.
a few years ago, I don't know how I found out about this app. It's called Litzy. Yeah, Litzy. So around the same time that I found out about Bookstagram, I found out about Litzy, which is just another app that's very similar to Instagram, but it's just about books. So just think about Instagram, but like nothing else happens there. It's just book stuff. But I never really clicked on Litzy. It's like I never really found my groove or my rhythm on there. So, but it's very active on Litzy, and you can tell like a lot of people there, this is the only place where they go to talk about books. But for
Yeah,
whatever reason, like it wasn't my groove, it wasn't my jam. So there's a lot of trial and error in trying to find your community as well. I
I
felt
know that
like I'm having more fun on Instagram than Litzy.
I know that LeVar Burton just launched like last year, maybe that Fable
Did he launch that? Or he
with.
just had the book club on there.
Maybe he just has a book club on there, and I'm making it his launch. But anyway, there's a thing called Fable, which I'm
I'm
not
on
sure
Fable.
if it's something you have to pay for or not. I know I'm on it, but I've never really been in there. Have you been in there?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm in
And
there. I'm in
okay.
like 5 clubs on
Oh,
there. I started a club on there. If you want to
you
read with
started
Hall
a
with
club.
me, and I did. If you want to read with Hall with me in January, follow me on the Fable. I'm just trying it out. I'm giving Fable. I
Well,
joined
I guess
Fable
I
last
need to
year. I'm
follow
gonna
you
give it
because
some
I would like
time.
to read Wolf Hall.
Well, listen, this is an experiment. I'm all about experimenting, right? So here's what I've learned about Fable so far. There are a lot of clubs on there, right? And so the way
Hmm.
Fable is structured is like you create a club, you put your book in there, and it's kind of cool because you can tell Fable, okay, I want to be able to have discussions about this book like every 3 chapters, and it will like break it out for you automatically, which is very
Oh, that's
cool.
nice. That is
Right.
nice.
It's very nice. Now, however, a lot of the groups that I'm in, no one's actually chatting about the books, which is the whole point of being on there, right?
No.
So like a
Why?
group may have, I don't know. So like a group may have like let's say 2500, members in the club. But then when you go and look at all the breakdowns of the chapters for a said book that they're reading for the month, maybe no one's talking about it, or maybe like 5 people are talking about it. You know what I mean? So some of these clubs are dead in a sense. So I said, I'm gonna stick with the clubs I'm in. I'm gonna start a club and I'm gonna give it till the end of 2023 and then decide, is it worth me staying or not? You know what I mean? Because like not
I
all
know
the
what
clubs
you
are active.
mean,
I'm going for
and
the
I'm curious.
conversation, you know?
I'm curious. I'm curious. I'm curious. Maybe I should do something similar, and I'll read
Mm-hmm.
Wolf Hall with you because I want to read Wolf
Yeah.
Hall with you.
Yes. Yeah. It's a interesting little place. It's it's
I've been
interesting.
very curious about it, but also I haven't bothered to check it out. I think I started to, and then I was like, I need room on my phone for more apps, and I got rid of it.
Yeah, I got really, ever since I started like trying to figure out how people are operating in the book space, I've just been kind of like experimenting with a lot of things because I'm just very curious. So we shall see. And then like some clubs are like very, very active. Like there's a lot of discussion going on in there. Oh, so also I would recommend Substack. Substack is a newsletter service.
You know,
Now, what are you gonna say?
every time you mention Substack, then somebody else in my life starts mentioning Substack, and it's like where the frig did Substack come from? Like I'd never heard from
Substack
it
is
in my
so
entire life.
great.
We talked about it in a meeting about TBR Lowdown, and then suddenly everybody was talking about it.
I so I love a good newsletter, right? But
Oh,
I
I don't
actually
like that
hate,
this is only, sorry, I know I'm interrupting you, but I don't like that Fable isn't online.
well, it's an app.
I know,
It's
but I
just
don't
an
like
app.
that.
It's
I don't
just an
like
app.
that.
I know. I know. It's just
Anyway,
an app.
continue.
Yeah.
I don't
So
like it. Anyway, continue.
I enjoy a good newsletter. I don't enjoy having my email inbox being cluttered with newsletters. Okay. So I've
Fair.
been on Substack for a while because I found some really good newsletters, and
Oh no.
it's nice because you can, comment on their posts. It feels like a blog and a newsletter service. They post their newsletter issue for the week or whatever, and everyone who's subscribed, can comment. So nice conversations happen there. But then, like a few weeks ago, Substack launched a chat feature. So it's just another way for you to feel more connected with all the subscribers that you're with for a particular newsletter. So that's like it broadened the community and it puts you in a position where you can be a little bit more closer with the other people that are also subscribed to the same newsletter you're subscribed to. So I would also check out Substack.
So stay tuned. Naomi will be creating a Substack for us.
Well, if you go to our website, tbrlowdown.com, you'll be able to subscribe to our newsletter, which will be launching in the new year.
She's very excited about this. She's
I'm very excited because it's so easy. It's so easy. She's giving me a look, you all. She's giving me a look. She's like, I don't even know about Substack, and here we are.
she just says things, and I say, "All right," and then I try to figure out how to get them all done.
First and foremost, I am a nerd. I'm a beta nerd. So whenever new apps and things come out, I always have a desire to try it.
Oh
Like
god,
that's
yeah,
never
she'll
going to
send
leave
me
me.
stuff and she'll be like, "So this Boopity Boppy app is out and I just put myself on the invite list. So, here you go." I guess I'm putting myself on the invite list because we don't want to miss the next Twitter. Like,
Yeah, I can't. That's just a part of me. I mean, that's just, you know.
whatever.
Look, guys. Before I was talking about books, I was talking and blogging and podcasting about tech. So that's just never going to leave it. It's just a part of
So
who I
now
am.
she wants book tech and yeah, it's fine.
Ooh,
It's
book tech. I love that. I love that.
the other thing is you can just, randomly start communicating on see who you talk to the most on your posts and then randomly become friends with them. And then suddenly you're going to
Ta-da!
McKay's all the time and you're
And you
starting
have
a
a
podcast with
podcast.
them.
That is how it happened.
That is how the magic was made.
Yeah, that's how it happened. That's how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a service. an app. I don't know if you can access it on the website or not, but there's an app called Literati. Now that is a paid book club.
Yeah, because I think you
Um,
don't you like buy the book from them and then they send you the book and then there's
yeah, so you
compensation.
pay. Yeah, you pay for the service and they mail you the book or whatever. And there's various clubs on there, and you can switch clubs whenever you want to. So you pay for Literati every month. All the clubs announce what book they're going to read. You can choose any club you want to. You don't have to stick with a particular club. And then they mail you the book, and then that club in the app, they have a lot of discussions about said book, which is kind of nice.
That's kind of
So
nice. I,
there's
I, you know what?
an
I
option
would
too.
argue that the Feminist Book Club box is also a similar thing. They started their own little platform,
Oh, did
um,
they?
so in association with the box, and they do have a Zoom call every month
Oh, that's
for
wonderful.
yeah, for each book. So like every month they come out with a book that they pick, and like I mean it's a book club, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have the month to read it, and then there's like a couple different nights that they host the Zoom. So it's not even like you have a one and done. So like the thing
Yeah.
I hate about my reading the Booker book club is that
Mm-hmm.
it's one night and that's
Mm.
it. So if you're not around that night, you've missed the book club. So this one's kind of nice because
Oh.
they give you like two or three shots at hitting a discussion that you might be able to fit into your schedule, and they have different people who moderate depending on the night, and it's
See,
just
there's the thing,
it's a
right?
nice little community. You got
Right.
to
You're
get a good
talking
moderator
Dee Dee,
too.
who's one person, versus the feminist book.
Yeah,
Well, they
they have
have
a
like
couple people too,
people, but
but
that's
I
cool
will
that they
say
added
that I
that.
think Dee Dee's a better moderator in general, but
Mm-hmm.
she's actually just really good at that. So some
She's
people
got
are
a great
really
website too.
yeah, some people are just really good at moderating, so that's a skill.
Hmm.
It's a skill.
So, in the vein of book boxes, the Black Walnut Bookshop, they focus on indigenous works. They have a book box and they also have a book club. So I would definitely check them out. And they're also on Instagram and they post wonderful things all the time. So if you want to really um, diversify your reading, that is a good place to start where you can actually get a subscription box and be a part of their book club. And they also have discussions, I believe, via Zoom or something like that.
Yeah, and I would love to know if there's I know that there are other book club boxes that do similar things, and I would
Mm-hmm.
love to know more of them because I think
Yes.
it's nice. It's nice to have I obviously love book boxes. I have a lot of book boxes and actually I don't really have a lot of them anymore, but I've tried a lot of book boxes and I pay attention to them. But most of them don't have any sort of most of like the big names that you're familiar with don't have like a club associated with them. No one's talking about the books. No one's reading them. You just kind of get the things. It's very
Yeah.
like get the things, enjoy the things, don't enjoy the things, move on next month. So
Mm-hmm.
I like these ones where you can actually read the book with people,
I think
and
it's a nice added feature for
yeah, it's really
sure.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. And the books are usually different. Those book boxes, I feel like the books are way more curated and not just like
Yes.
what's the hot book or what's going to look the best as a new cover or whatever.
Yes. Yes. No shade to what
No,
the hot things are, but look, every reader has their own
it's a different
preference of what they're
approach.
looking for, right? And their own, you know, a set of the checks that they want to, check off for their reading. So
Hmm.
it's nice that there are other sources that can provide what other readers are looking for. Everyone doesn't want to read popular books
No,
or new books
or litfic
or
or
lit fic,
whatever.
right? Exactly.
So,
So there's that. Can we chat about Facebook and my
yes, I would
experiment
love to
that
know more
my
about your Facebook experiment because I don't really go on Facebook.
I hate
But I figured out
Facebook.
how to sign back in. Remember, I said I couldn't sign in because I was looking for something on Marketplace and I couldn't get in my Facebook. I can get in now.
I
That's how
I
little I use it.
I actually really hate Facebook. I really hate it. I have to use it for work because I manage a lot of pages for work. But like in terms of my personal profile, I have not posted on there since my grandson was born, and that was almost 11 years ago. I really hate Facebook. But I've been so curious, and we've had this discussion on maybe one or two other podcast episodes before about like where do readers go? Like what like are there readers on Facebook? Like is it like a Bookstagram equivalent but on Facebook? I've been like really curious about that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on the hunt. I'm going to go on the hunt. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to check on the groups. And I, put in all various keywords, books, reading, literature, whatever, whatever. And I've joined maybe roughly 6 or 7 groups for reading on
Mhm.
Facebook. And they range from, there's like a Black Girls Read to, there's a modern lit society one, there's a sci-fi and fantasy one, there's like a few general ones, there's one where it's all UK people. So like it's like a good variety of clubs on there. And I've been kind of, checking them out and like really actively participating because there's no point in doing this. I'm not going to actively participate and see like how it works for me. So this has been going on for about, I don't know, 5-6 months maybe. And I got
Mhm.
to tell you, it's a strange place over there. It's
How so?
okay. So one of the things that just kept throwing me off was, for instance, on Facebook, people just found out about Book Outlet. And so
Are you
I was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm confused. And I made a comment. I was like, so we forgave them already? Because I'm confused. I'm like, you don't remember the scandal? I thought we said no
Oh,
to
I think we forgave them because they've been all over Book Talk too.
right. So then people were like, what scandal? And I was like, what the heck? What's going on here? And then I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Everyone over here just found out about Book Outlet. They don't know anything else about. They just found out. So it was a very new thing for them. And that experience kept happening to me. And like people just discovering things that folks over on Bookstagram have been talking about for the last 3 years. And it just felt like it was a constant jarring of me, like being thrown back in time. You know what I mean? It was just very weird.
It
Very
is
weird.
weird.
It's so strange, right? So what's old to us is new to them over there. And I'm saying that because it's not just one group. Again, I'm in 6, 7 groups across the board. Book Outlet is a very new thing.
Huh.
Goodreads is a very new thing to a lot of people.
No, Goodreads can no.
I'm
No,
telling
surely not.
I
Surely not
just
Goodreads.
so many posts in all these groups. I just set up a Goodreads. I need some friends. Follow me. Bookstagram is a very new thing for them. So many posts. I just created a Bookstagram today. Follow me. So
I've been
many.
on Goodreads since like before I was divorced.
I've been on Goodreads for at least 11 years. And there was no Bookstagram back then. You know what I mean? There was no social media for literature back then. So it's very odd.
Look at this
It really
pig.
kept
He's
tripping
too
me up.
soft.
Right. It kept tripping me up because these very old things that we've been a part of for so long are brand new over on Facebook for a lot of readers. Not all, but enough of them where I'm like, what in the world is going on? And it just makes you wonder, how do you find out about these things? I was trying to figure out, how did I learn about Goodreads? I don't even remember. It's
I don't
not
remember
like
either.
nobody was online talking about books. So I don't even know how I found Goodreads, but I damn sure did.
I may have heard about it through like the comments section on an author's like website or
Mm.
something like that. Because that used to be where you talked. There'd be an author you really enjoyed, and they would post things on their blogs, and I would
Yeah, maybe.
interact in their comments or
Yeah. It's strange. And also like a lot of the books that we were all like hyped about 3 years ago, they're just kind of like talking about it. Is very much like a blast from the past over there.
I
It's
wonder
a very odd feeling.
I wonder if that's how like book Twitter feels about everybody else. Because I feel like
Mm.
everything happens on book Twitter first.
Mm. I don't know.
But because I don't interact on book Twitter, it's
I don't
terrifying.
interact on book Twitter either. Doesn't really happen on like okay. When you see everything, what do you mean by everything?
Like the drama stuff.
Right. See, probably yes on Twitter, but I'm talking about, let's just stick in the realm of like book discovery. I feel like you're gonna know about it if you're on Instagram first.
Yes. Yes.
And so I've been thinking about that, right? So I don't think, and okay, so I don't think publishers are active on Facebook, right?
No.
But I think it's because of the way the Facebook platform is structured versus how the Instagram platform is structured, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Instagram, you just have one feed and you just follow people in said feed.
Mm-hmm.
But Facebook is separated into groups,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if a publisher isn't in your group, you don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You don't know what's upcoming. So it's very like fragmented on Facebook, where Instagram is it's a silo.
Yeah.
It's a silo. So you can follow everyone. And I also think that you can really find your people, in my opinion, you can really find your people more so better and easier on Instagram than Facebook. For instance, in all these groups that I'm in, there's really only one group where I feel like I click with those people. And that's that modern literary society, because they're reading things I actually read.
Mm-hmm.
The other groups, like I thought I would really click more with the Black Girls Read group, because hello, Black woman. But they read a lot of smut over there. A lot of
Oh,
thrillers. I don't really read that.
yeah, you don't read that.
They read a lot of coho. That shocked the
Oh
hell out of
God.
me. So I'm not, in terms of like finding like-minded readers, it's only like one or two groups, which that also shocked me. That also shocked me. So I don't know. It's a very different experience over there when you're trying to find a community. I think it's much, much harder to do that on Facebook than it is, say, on Instagram.
I
So
feel I feel like of all of the social media platforms that I use for like book stuff, I feel like Instagram is like just the easiest
it is.
for finding things. It must be the way the algorithm works. So the more I interact with things that I enjoy, obviously the more I see those things. But I feel like in like book talk, for example, like can't even get through the sea of stuff to get to something that's like what I would read.
Exactly.
So I don't even know how to find it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's harder. There's more legwork I have to do, and I frankly am lazy. We've discussed this. I don't
Yes.
want to do any more work. And I think that's some of why I haven't been putting time into booktube to make friends with people on booktube, because there is a lot of like extra legwork you have to do. And after you've made videos and you've put them up and you do
Yeah.
all of this, and I'm doing this, that, and the other thing, the last thing I want to do is like actually try to make friends. But
Well,
I, I and I don't think the algorithm's really great over on YouTube either, because I
oh.
again just see the same. I don't know. It's weird because like there's things I like to watch because I
Mm-hmm.
just like to watch them. Like I put them on while
Yes.
I'm doing things. And then there are people I actually want to hear their opinions on books.
Mm-hmm.
And those people I have to actively seek out, because
Same.
everything else I get, because I think because it's YouTube, so it's not just book stuff. I don't just
Exactly.
watch book stuff. So like I will have 1,000 sound rooms that I have to scroll
Me
through
too.
before I can see anything that has anybody actually talking on it. And then because I listen to a lot of sound rooms,
Me
and
too.
then I listen to a lot of different commentary channels, and then somewhere in there I'll eventually find, somebody that talks about books, and then I've got to sift through all of the like people I don't care about on booktube to get to like the people I do, and it's just
Yeah,
I
that
also need to
YouTube
do a
algorithm is
massive
weird.
clean out of my subscriptions, because
I've been
there's a lot of
doing
people
that.
that I just don't like. They're fine if their video came across and it was interesting,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine, but I don't need to be subscribed to their channels.
I've been
So
doing that. I've had to, because YouTube, I still don't know why you all can't recommend Black and brown people to me. I know they're there, but you all never give it to me. Every time
sometimes I get
you
black and
all,
brown people.
well, I'm not getting them, and I'm a Black person. Like, what is up with you, YouTube? I'm not getting them. It is so weird to me. Like, how many times do I have to like YouTube? You know, I'm searching in that freaking search bar, Black booktube,
You're like,
I'm
black
searching
ladies reading freaking books. Show them
all
to
the
me now.
time, but they never show it to me. It is like, I don't know what y'all are doing over there. Like, is this a conspiracy? No, like what's happening? So I don't know, but I am actively, just like you, I'm actively working on cleaning that up,
Yeah,
cleaning it
because
up
it
because
needs help.
It needs a
But I
lot
mean,
of
I
help.
will say that my YouTube feeds are very white. But I have noticed there's like waves where YouTube will suddenly start recommending me people that aren't white, and I'm like, ooh, interesting.
Why don't they do
Where
that
did
for me?
I don't know.
Like I'm telling you, I,
But then
I
it
get
goes
a
back into
slew.
like its normalcy of just like whiteness, and then every
Yeah.
so often,
I
like
I
it goes through
mm-mm.
a phase.
I can count
I'm
on one
maybe I
hand.
just mix things just the right way, and somehow it maybe it's I don't know. We can speculate all day on what makes the YouTube algorithm do what it does, but
I know YouTube, the algorithm to me is not good at understanding that people have various interests.
mhm,
So I like a lot of things, but
mhm,
like you will pick and choose that one thing out of five things that I want to see the most. But I want to see all
yeah,
the things, but you only give me
mhm,
one of the things. So
mhm.
y'all got some work to do over there, developers. Just saying, us people, we're layered.
We are. So like I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to do over on YouTube, but it's made a little bit more. I've decided to make this year like a more conscious effort of getting into the community a little bit more,
Good. I want you
and
to. That's great.
with the people that I really like,
Mm-hmm.
and not just like the big booktubers that you might be familiar with, and they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but like I don't really watch people like Books and Lala and the Book Leo and people like that. I mean, I watch
The book
Jess
Leo.
because I just like
Yeah.
Jess, but like the really big, I don't know. I
Yeah.
they're not.
Well,
I
Books and Lala doesn't read anything that I read, so I just I
yeah.
think I'm not I'm really not interested in watching anybody that doesn't read what I read. I'm watching you because I
Mhm.
want book recommendations. My brain is always on book discovery mode. I want to watch people who are going to introduce authors and books to me that I've never heard of before. That's exciting to me. That's what I want as a reader.
Yeah,
Book discovery.
and
So if I'm watching someone and you don't ever read anything that I like, I don't want to watch. I'm not
I
going to
think
subscribe.
I think some of it's like I was watching something while I was on hold earlier, and it's Christy Ann Jones, and she um is from Australia, and I started watching her because she reads a lot of Japanese lit. I think she also
Mhm.
speaks Japanese and spent some time living in Japan. Um, and she's a big book. I mean, she's got. I'm just looking. I didn't realize quite how big she is. It's 166,000 subscribers, right? So she's fairly big. And I wouldn't say she's exactly a booktuber, but she
Yeah.
also does like writing stuff. So like, it's a little bit more like lifestyle aesthetic. I would say more like a Sunbeam Jess,
Oh,
but
I
with
love Sunbeam
a little
Jess.
bit more focus on like the
Yeah.
reading and writing aspects of life than maybe Sunbeam Jess does, because she's got like a little bit more like she leans a little bit more lifestyle. But in like that camp of booktuber, I
Yeah.
like those people, but I like them for very specific things. Like the video I pulled up of hers to watch was her. Sometimes I like people who do these writing like somebody. So she's trying
Mm.
like Donna Tartt's writing style, and
Oh,
there's a
that's
bunch of people who do
interesting.
stuff like that. And some of them are more interesting than others when they film these videos. And she's one of the ones, and she's got high production value. And it's nice.
Yeah.
It's like my version of television. But then there's people like Katie Books who it's not about the slick production value. I really want to hear how he's going to trash a book, and
Yeah.
when he actually likes a book, and like what book, if it's a book I like, did he like it? No, he hated it. Okay, why did he hate it? Like there's like this interaction that's happening, whatever, that parasocially while
Yes.
watching it, and I like those creators for like book recommendations and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And it's really hard, like you said, to get the algorithm to understand that like just because I watch this one lady because I like her aesthetic things, and I watch this
Right.
other guy because I want to hear what he has to say about a book because he makes me laugh, and sometimes I just 100% don't agree with him, like he hated blindness and I'm like, what is wrong with you? But like, exactly. But
What? Okay.
But like there's people like I don't need people to like everything I like. And if
Yeah.
you say it intelligently to me why you dislike something, I think that makes for a great discourse. And sometimes
Yeah.
there's people like Books with Brittany who like every time she hates a book, I'm like, excellent, I'll read that because I'm gonna
Mm.
like it, right?
Right.
So there's people like that that I'm happy to watch. Um, but I don't know how to get YouTube to understand that.
Right. So this is another great way of also finding the community, right? Because a lot of times these booktubers, they will have like a monthly read along. So I recently
Mhm.
found, oh, I'm just in love with
A
these
lot
two
of them have a
ladies.
lot of discords too that aren't
Yes.
associated with a Patreon, or maybe they have levels
Mm-hmm.
within their Discord that become open to you if you're in their Patreons, but they have basic things. And those are really good places to get in outside of just
Yes.
the comments, talking to people, get in and actually talk to them, but talk to other people that are, and you can find other creators that way. So a lot of times it's creators supporting creators, and you
Yes.
can find other, like, I just found Bob the Booker, and I had never watched
Isn't
Bob
he
the Booker
great?
before. And because we're in this Discord
He's
together, and he's
so good.
fantastic. He's
Yes.
so
He's
good.
so
And
good.
I would never have found him but any other way because it's not getting popped up on
Yeah.
my feeds.
See, he pops up on my feed. That's how I found him.
Well, I found him. I
But
found him through
not anybody
Discord.
black or brown YouTube. Not any of my people.
They do really like British people. I feel like my booktube
Oh.
loves British people,
Yes.
especially if you're
Yes.
like a cute British woman. Oh,
Yeah. Well, I wanna talk about these two booktubers that I recently found in the last, I don't know, 6 months that I'm really like, I've been just all the way in the rabbit hole of their videos. One, her channel was called Middle of the Book March. Just
hmm.
just a wonderful channel. Reads like you and I do. I've had lots of book discoveries through her. And then the other one is Hardcover Hearts. And she actually does um, a read along. She uses Voxer for her
Oh
stuff.
yeah, Boxer's
So,
fun.
yeah, so I've signed up for her January read along, and I'm just excited to just like really become a part of her community and be a part of the read along. So that's another way to like find people to read with that are reading things that are of interest to you. Check out what these other booktubers are offering outside of their channel.
Yeah, and that's really where I think I've found the most other people to watch, or to talk to or create community with. Because like I said, a lot of the people that are in like the Discords or the Voxers apparently,
Mm-hmm.
or the wherevers, are people who are also creating something in this space,
Yes.
and you will find like-minded people and you'll be able to create a community. Um, that way. And a lot of times you might start in someone's Discord or chats or whatever,
Right.
and those things will sometimes, like with us, like they'll hop out and have be their own thing, because you'll make a really great connection with somebody or a group of people, and it can kind of take on a life of its own and be its own thing.
Yes.
Um, so I I think to sum it up is like you have to put in a little bit of legwork.
You do. You do. And give it some time, like really give it some time to see if this is something that's going to really suit you in the long haul. Like I can say right now, like in for Facebook in particular, I'm probably going to drop all but two groups,
Hmm.
because also, so like for instance, a lot of these groups, like a lot of them are very like coho heavy right now.
Oh my god,
So
I just can't anymore.
right. So the thing is, right, if you're a cohort reader, you're having the time of your life. You because you all
Yeah.
are just talking about these books. But if you're not like me, I don't read. I've never read Colleen Hoover. I don't plan to. So if I'm in a group and that's all you all are talking about, let's say 70% of the time, I'm bored. And it doesn't make me want to go on there because that's all y'all are talking about is coho. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm
No, but
saying
it's
is
not
it
what
kind
you
of like
wanna read.
locks you into something that you have zero interest in.
Yeah.
So you got to give, I think Facebook in particular, you have to give it some time to really get the lay of the land and get a real good feeling of how their flow is, to see does their flow rock with your flow.
Yeah.
And you're not going to really figure that out like in a couple of weeks. You got to like get it, you got to get in there. You got to
Yeah,
get
you
in there and
unfortunately
you got
have
to
to
comment and
do.
post and be active and see like is this my jam or not.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do some work and really,
Yeah.
like, interact with stuff. And I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with it. You gotta interact. You gotta interact with people
Right.
and find your stuff. You got to interact with the algorithm. You got to get into the chats and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you do that, like you do start to find people, and it takes a little bit of time. Um, I still think that Instagram is the easiest place to sort of start to build that community because I just feel like it's so much easier to tailor the algorithm to what you like.
Especially
But
because you can follow
also,
hashtags. That was a
yeah,
game
also
changer.
I might be a bias because that's how it worked for me. So if you have tips and tricks for how to do this, like hacking the system, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
for things like Facebook and, Book Talk or whatever, we'd love to hear them because clearly we have Naomi's on a journey to figure out all the other social medias, but
The curiosity, man, gets me. It just gets me. Yeah. If you're using something else out there that we haven't mentioned, let us know what it is. And whatever you found with the book community, let us know what the community is and like how you
mhm.
found it and like, what you think about it. Cause we'd be curious to know. And we
I'm
can talk
very
about that
curious
more.
about Fable, and I guess I will put it back on. I'll re-download the app.
You're like, oh, another app. Jeez
I hate
Louise.
downloading more apps.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It is one of the more frustrating things now that everything has a flipping app.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't need an app.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. I don't because I'm getting on a flight, need to download. No, just give me my ticket.
Right.
I've been flying for decades. Like it works just fine. I
Yeah.
don't need to take up more room on my phone.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's true. So, book communities, finding them. A little difficult. A little difficult. No matter
But
what, you're going to
it's
have to curate it yourself. That's the bottom line.
yeah. I don't think it's daunting. Or as daunting as it might seem. I think once you start to, I think knowing what you like is a big help. Following the things that you like and interacting with them will pull up more stuff,
Yeah.
hopefully. And just getting out there and yeah, I think that that'll help. And if you're not looking for the online thing, go to your library. I think is the biggest
Mm-hmm.
thing you can do is go to your library or look on their websites or sign up for their newsletters or
Mm-hmm.
whatever because there are going to be people like you or reading things you want to read. I mean, I
Absolutely.
live in a small town with thankfully a very good library, but that library is hopping, man. They have, you want to read thrillers? I think there's a thriller book club. You want to read
Yeah.
cozy things? There's a cozy book club. You want to read this? There's this, there's
I
that.
know.
There's like so many different book clubs. They're reading so many different books. I swear every week they have a book club meeting for a different
Yes.
book.
Same.
It's you could have an entire social calendar that is just going to book club meetings in this small
For
town library.
sure. For sure. And also, look, don't be afraid to jump out there and create your own club on meetup.com.
Yeah,
If you don't see anything that tickles your fancy, just create it yourself.
this will shock you, but I did do that when I lived in the city. I did. I found friends through Meetup.com,
What?
and it was when I used to be able to knit because my whole body wasn't so jacked up,
Yeah.
and I made friends via knitting, and everybody was shocked that they were all like under the age of 40, and we would like go to bars and drink and
I love
knit
that.
things.
I
Mhm.
love that. See, you can be sociable.
I can, and through the right circumstances, I can be sociable.
Yes. Yes. Well, don't worry, people. Every app, site, whatever that we talked about will be in the show notes. So no worries there. And if we think of anything else after we get off of this recording, we'll throw it in the show notes as well. But just think of it as a fun social experiment. Don't stress about it. Just think of it as a social experiment. I've been having fun. I've been having a lot of fun because it's just been very interesting just looking at the differences of these different communities and these platforms. I mean, it's just like, oh wow. Oh, you want
She's
to talk about
also
this
the
over
one
here?
that's like super sociable, so I'm
Well,
not
yeah.
surprised that she's having fun.
It's interesting.
It is interesting, and I will join you on the fable.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's also what I want to say. I didn't realize until I got over in these Facebook groups. Man, people love their thrillers.
Yeah, they
Woo!
really, really do, and I I can't.
I mean, they love their thrillers. I just that kind of opened my eyes. Like, wow, there really are people like this is what they read. They read thrillers. Period. Point blank. Get out of here with these other genres. Just give me a thriller. I mean, it's deep. It's deep,
Yeah,
and so is the
and
smut.
the smut I understand. I do love smut. There's so many different kinds of smut. I can't just read smut because I don't know, my brain won't do that. But the thrillers, I feel like there's a point. We've discussed this 1,000 times. I am
Yes.
so jaded with thrillers.
Yeah. Well, I
They're
mean,
too
thrillers follow a formula
formulaic.
like romance. Yes or no?
Kinda. There's I think romance is more formulaic in general,
Uh
but
huh.
there's just I don't know. It's just something, it's a very comforting read because you
Mm,
know that even as things get crazy, there's going to be at least a happily for now or a happily ever
got it.
after.
Mm-hmm.
Like you kind of know the ending and you kind of navigate your way through all the things that are going to happen. And then there's like sexy times. So it's different.
Yeah.
But thrillers, I feel like the point is to be thrilled and to not know that it's and to be like shocked and twisted and have twists and turns. And if I can tell every twist and turn, because most of the books, in my humble opinion, after a while start to read the same,
Mm-hmm.
it's not interesting to me anymore. And I need
Mm.
to read something else that is actually going to maybe have twists and turns for me.
Yeah, yeah, we have talked about that before, and I completely understand that. I'm not a thriller girl. I'm not opposed to a thriller. I could enjoy a good thriller, but it's definitely not something that I seek out.
Hmm.
Um, it's whatever. It's just I don't know. It's just I don't know. Whatever. It's fine.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's part of the reason too. Like book of the month. I've been like really disappointed with their selections for what feels like a year and a half now. I've paused my membership, but I
I
generally
told
don't
you
get
this.
thrillers from there.
I think they need to start talking to whoever picks the Libro FM ALCs and get
Yeah,
some guidance on like what is a better choice. Though, but I said this to you too.
yeah,
Offline. I think that book of the month is just so commercial that I don't know. I think unless the commercial stuff intersects with what we want to read at the
right.
time, we're going to be disappointed. I just really thought December was particularly disappointing. And like
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they like re-offered Babel or like
Right.
it was like it felt very slapdash. Like they were like, oh shit, we don't remember what we were going to pick. So here's some things.
Yeah, yeah. I think it gets tricky too. So, you and I are also working with a good number of publishers. And so what I
Yeah.
found, especially
A lot of
this
times I
year,
already have the book.
I already
Yeah.
have the book. So out of all the selections for a particular month, the one that I may even have an interest in reading, I already have it from the publisher.
Yeah.
So I've just decided I'm just going. I paused book of the month. I think I'm going to subscribe to that Black Walnut Indigenous book box and the other one that I told you, the translated one, because I need to pay money to get books for things I have a desire in reading.
Yeah, I think that that's fair. I think it's
Yeah,
fair to ask.
yeah. Well, this
Anyway,
was a good conversation. We hope that
it
we've
was
given you all some, enough number of paths to find your book community so that you can find like-minded readers and also be in a position to have better book discovery.
yeah,
So,
there's
oh,
some work that has to go in.
one more thing I also realized with the Facebook groups, a lot of people do go to Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
there's
a
not a lot of
lot.
other options.
Yeah. But even when there are options, people like Barnes and Noble. Period. So I've learned so much through these Facebook groups.
Truthfully, I miss Borders, but that's
Oh
okay.
my
I can't go back
gosh.
in time. There is somewhere like in Saudi Arabia or like Dubai or something like that that has a border still. I was seeing. Did I send you that TikTok?
No, you did not.
Oh my god. And, like there's somewhere that already that still has it. I'll try to find. And I was like, "Oh my god, please. I need to go there."
I miss
Cuz
Borders so much. Like I legit cried real tears when the announcement came out that Borders was going out of business. I spent so much time at Borders. And yeah, I was that person sitting, cross-legged in the aisles with like 15 books on my lap. I miss Borders. That was a great place. My good girlfriend and I would go and just like spend hours in there. I only had one friend I could do that with back then, just one, because nobody else would put up with those shenanigans. I miss
Okay.
it.
All right. So I'm wrong. It's not like Dubai.
Oh,
Uh, there are many that still exist, including several in Kuala Lumpur.
oh, really? Well, that's
Hmm.
interesting.
So there are still
Wow.
a few. We just have to travel quite far.
It's so interesting because when that news came down about Borders going out of business, I was really shocked. I thought it would be Barnes and Noble that would go out of business first. In my mind,
I
I always thought
know.
Borders was more popular, but I guess I don't know. I don't know how y'all was doing your finances, but
I don't know. But anyway, we can't go back in time, but maybe
we
we can
can't.
go to Kuala Lumpur.
Wait, I'm down. I'm down. Well, it's book
But
recommendation time.
book recommendation time. So
What you got?
I'm going to. I've got. I can't remember if you read this. I'm
I
gonna go with an
didn't.
oldie but a goodie, which is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson.
I still love that
So
cover
I
so
know that
much.
like some people like Margaret Rogerson, some people find her kind of boring. I find her she's like a warm hug. I feel like her books might not knock your socks off, but they're kind of just like, well, that was nice. And
Yeah.
then, it's nice. But this one surprised me at how much I really liked this story. And I was shook, honestly, with how much I liked this. And I found out recently that there is a novella sequel coming out for this story. And
Oh,
I'm thrilled. So I think it comes out in January. And so I had to, continue on. I think I've been recommending a lot of books that have sequels recently.
yes.
So if you don't know, so you have Elizabeth who she works in this library. There's like grimoires and a bunch of stuff happens. There's some sabotage. This like mysterious man shows up and he's kind of like a wizard. And then they have to like fight a bunch of people and she's a bit of a badass and then like romance ensues and it's just lovely and sweet and there's some good really great characters in here that are like a little bit evil and it's just
Mm,
and a little bit sexy and like but like in a YA
mm,
kind of way and I love this. I loved her. I loved the grimoires. I loved everything. It was just so well done and just such a like it's a warm hug of a book. I don't know how this wasn't this is like somewhere between like high stakes fantasy and like legends and lattes. Like for me in terms of how warm and fuzzy I
well,
felt.
people do love that book. Now, I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember, this was 2 years ago when I was in McKay, and I had that book in my hand, and I had Crescent City,
Uh-huh.
or the first one or whatever. But y'all told me to get Crescent City because it was new, and y'all couldn't believe that I found the McKay for like $9, and it
Yeah.
was like a special edition. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I got that one. But ever since then, I looked for that book, and I and
You
I
should
I don't see it, but I will continue to look for it because that's a YA
look
one that I'm
for it.
willing to read. Yeah.
I it was just nice. And if you ever can like get any of your other books out from the library, like they really are just like they're just pleasant. They're just
Yeah.
a pleasant read.
Everyone needs pleasant reads every now and then. I'm down for the pleasant read.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I am recommending The Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette Mayer. And this is already out. And it just won. What prize did it just win? The Gillard
A surprise
Prize?
I'd never heard of.
Something like, I only know about it from this Canadian gentleman that I follow on BookTube, and he always reads the long list. Um, I think he's Canadian. He has a channel called Pop Something. Anyway, it's very good, and he talks about that prize. But anyway, I'll put that in the show notes too. I do want to thank Coach House Books for sending me this. Thank you so much. This really was a wonderful read. So we're in the 1920s. We're following Baxter. It's the 20s. He's black. He's queer. It's a lot at stake here. All he wants to do is work up enough money to be able to put himself through dental school. And you would think, okay, well, he's a car porter. How hard can it be? To work this job, to get this money up so he can go to dental school. Well, it is quite difficult. Number one, he's got to hide his queerness. Number two, it's the 20s. So you have to be careful not to upset any of the white passengers so they don't complain about you, because in this job they have this demerit system. So there's a number of things that you could do to get demerits, and if you reach a particular number of demerits, you lose your job altogether. So it's not as easy as just, I can just do a good job. You also have to like make sure that you're not upsetting passengers or doing anything to offend them, or hope that they're not too racist where they don't make up stuff about you and cause you to gain more
Mm.
demerits, which you don't even find out about until you're like the end of your run, and you kind of like checking with like the higher ups to find out what's the tally of your demerits. So the whole time you don't even know what you're racking up in demerits. It's all very stressful.
Mhm.
Also, there are expenses that are put on the porters that really shouldn't be. So, like when passengers, I don't know, like steal the damn towels, Baxter has to pay for that out of his money.
What?
He has to pay, yes, he has to pay for all of his meals. That's not even included. So, he's already not working with a lot, and then you have to worry about when passengers steal things that comes out of your pocket. Like the stakes are pretty high, and you do feel that throughout the story. And also the things that you have to put up with from these passengers. For instance, in this one case, there was a grandmother and her granddaughter, and the little girl's mother had just passed away, and she was with her grandmother going back home to be with them or whatever, to be with the grandparents. And this little girl was in heavy grief, and for whatever reason, she cried with the grandma all the time, but she really clung to Baxter. I mean, like clung to Baxter, wouldn't go to the grandma, like held Baxter's hand the whole time, jumped on his back, put her body around his legs. She would not release herself from him. So here he is having to do his job as a porter while toting around this little girl on his back, or toting around the little girl holding her hand, because she would not go to the grandma without screaming her head off. He can't very well say, no, no, you have to go back to your grandma, because what if you piss off the grandma and she complains, and now you get demerits, and now you have no job, and then you can't go to dental school. You see what I'm saying? The stakes are high.
I'm stressed and it's not even my life.
This
Like
is what I'm
that's
saying.
no.
Like, it was so much more than him just doing his job. It was so much he had to put up with, so much he had to worry about. There were also quite a few sexy queer moments that happened in various places on those trains.
Mm.
Haka waka
Oh.
waka. So it was just a very interesting read, and I never heard of Suzette Mayer, and I just love how she wrote this book. I love this story. It was really quite it's a story that you kind of want to devour, and you are really, really rooting for Baxter the whole time. But in the same breath, it is a very high stakes situation.
Yeah.
And I also think she did a good job at letting us know how much dentistry meant to Baxter, because all throughout the book there'll be these like various situations where he's like talking to a passenger, and he'll like make a comment about their teeth, or he'll make a note of why someone's tooth is crooked or why it's shaped in this way, and he will like give you like the dental terms, like. So she's showing us that he's already done some studying on his own, and that he's like so in love with the art of dentistry that he is always looking at people's teeth and making commentary about it. So that also made you root for Baxter even more, because you knew how much he loved dentistry.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic story. Just absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend The Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette Mayer, out now from Coach House Books. Thank you, Coach House. This made my day.
Woohoo.
And congratulations, Suzette, on your prize. That was amazing. And this is a very short book. It's only 219 pages.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Good.
excellent.
Excellent. All right. We need to wrap this up because we need to wrap this up. We've got more to do and I've got
Yes, we
places to
do.
be. Whoop, whoop.
Yes, we do. All right. So that's going to do it for us. We'll see you all later. Check you out in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.